Volkanovski versus Sung Jung, also known
Korean
as
Zombie.
the Korean Zombie. Isn't it so
Best
crazy how
walkout in the
like
game.
the the UFC just rides with that name too, the Korean Zombie. Like you'll see
Yeah.
people like everybody has a nickname. All these fighters, the majority of the fighters have a nickname, but you don't
Yeah.
see like their nickname posted
Well, not just that, but like
on posters
during
and
not even just the posters during the fight where they have like the round and it's like, all right, Volkanovski, and then Zombie. It doesn't even say Sung Jung. It literally just says Zombie. If someone just came in and was like, "What are you watching? Volkanovski versus Zombie? What the fuck?" Like, are
but
those
man,
team names? Like,
and then but if anybody were to walk up and say, "What are you watching, Zombie? What are you talking about?" and then watch a fight, they'd be like, "Oh, I get it.
oh, I get it. Yeah, that's
I
Zombie.
get it." So,
They're like, "Which
uh,
one's Zombie?" Oh, that one. That one's Zombie.
yeah, a couple things.
Yeah,
Volkanovski is so damn good, man.
dude. He looked, and you could argue because of who he's fighting stylistically, but he looked on another level last night.
100%,
He
100%. And
looked very good.
the thing that I was so impressed with Volkanovski is
Mhm,
the way he mixed it up. And I'm not just saying with his strikes, but I'm
mhm.
saying his ability to be first and then switches right away. And it's like his ability to just sit back and counter. And he
Yeah.
was doing that so perfectly at the perfect times. And he was reading zombies so well. And there was such a
Mhm.
huge difference in speed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this was something that they scouted or not, but Zombie was very heavy to lead off with a left, whether it
Mhm.
was the jab, whether it was a left lead hook. But Volkanovski was waiting for every single one, and his ability to slip right off of those and hit him with his own left right combo
Mhm.
over and over and over again was so impressive, man. And he's so much power.
Yeah, and Dean Thomas said it perfectly. He's like that first round seemed like because Chan Sung Young was like he was just kind of there for every punch that Volkanovski was throwing. He was
Yep.
getting lit up early, instantly. He was getting lit up, and he was like, it seems like he's trying to counter the leg kicks. And like historically, if you're doing like a scouting report and you're game planning for Volkanovski, it's like, all right, first round, lots of leg kicks. Let's counter those leg kicks. And then he's like, I'm not even throwing leg kicks yet. And he didn't throw the first leg kick until like 3 minutes into the round. And so here we are, Korean Zombie's waiting for a leg kick to go, and he's getting lit up by that jab. And I mean,
And then how
that's
did Volkanovski start off the second round? Heavy leg
yeah,
kicks.
yeah,
God, just a
yeah.
masterful performance,
I mean, that's a
man.
champion. That's a champion.
And I said this in the last fight when he faced Ortega, and I was like, man, I got to give Volkanovski more credit.
Mhm.
And I think it just goes to show also just how good Max Holloway is,
Yeah,
because
seriously.
every single one of those fights has been extremely competitive. I personally have Max Holloway winning, those fights,
Mhm.
but that's just me.
Yeah.
Uh, but there's Volkanovski, there's Holloway, and then there's a
Mhm.
gap
Yeah, there
in
really
that
is.
division, like a big gap. And
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's going to be able to close that gap anytime soon, other than Max Holloway.
Other than Max. Yeah, that's the only guy. That's the only guy. And even then, it's highly contested.
Yes, yes, dude,
And
he's just so good.
yeah, and how about I want to talk too about the UFC changing all their graphics.
Oh yeah,
I mean, the on-screen display for like in the middle of the fight is completely different now. Maybe
yep,
it's a little bit maybe I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the way the round thing looks, you know.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah, we
thanks,
got
Rich.
pictures.
You got pictures now. There we go.
But yeah, I mean, kind of weird though when they're doing the teletape now that it's not still images of the fighters. They're
Yeah,
like kind of like awkwardly like,
like rubbing their gloves and like
yeah, it's
like
kind of
holding a
weird.
fist up and then like pounding their fists and
Piotr
I
Yana was
do.
like, oh, his is a photo, but then you see his eyes go, and I'm like, oh no, it's still a video.
Hey, I personally liked it. It was
It's
pretty cool.
cool.
I enjoyed it.
It's cool.
I enjoyed it.
I just don't like the way like the round indicator looks. It's a little weird.
Yeah, and with Korean Zombie,
Hmm.
again, that's why that's his nickname. He takes punishment. He continues moving forward. He
Yeah.
took some massive shots from Volkanovski, and in some of those
Yeah.
cases, like he caught Volkanovski with some big shots himself when he was getting beat up against the cage.
Yeah.
And then you'd see
Try to land the
Volkanovski
uppercut.
kind of, yeah, you see Volkanovski kind of lay back and then go for a clinch up against the cage because he didn't
Hmm.
want to get caught with something random.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, oh, and by
Should
the
they?
way, Herb Dean, I know we shit on him a lot.
Fantastic job.
This was one of the best jobs reffing that I've seen him do in a very long time.
Yeah, it was very, very good. Because he's not going to stop it in between rounds. It should have been stopped in between rounds, but that's not on him. That's on Korean Zombie's corner. For sure, call that before the fourth
Yep.
round even starts. They didn't. Herb gets the doctor in. The doctor's like, "Do you want to fight?" And Zombie's like, yeah." And he's like, "All right, yeah, he's good." and then Herb's like, "Oh, all right. Well, I'm gonna keep a close eye." And
Yeah.
instantly, Volkanovski cracks him a couple times, and he's like, "Nope, that's it."
Herb Dean recognized that, man. He recognized it.
Yeah.
He said, that doctor just did the shittiest job
Yeah.
checking on the Korean Zombie, so it's my job to protect the fighter at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stop it, but I see that he ends up taking any more punishment. And the very first exchange,
combo.
where Zombie gets caught and you see him kind of like be really wobbly, Herb Dean steps in right away, and that was it. So I thought it was really good. At that point,
let's be real. The rule is you stop it when they're not intelligently defending themselves. And Zombie just wasn't. He was not
having
defending
a really
himself.
hard time. And, in the body language from Zombie too.
I don't mean that to take away anything from him. That's just how good Volkanovski is. It's just that's the reality is he was not intelligently defending himself, whether it be if he could or not, doesn't matter. But that's the reality. He wasn't intelligently defending himself. He was getting lit up every single time Volkanovski threw. He's there to eat it. And at a certain point, what are we doing? We're going to do this for all 5 rounds? Why? Especially in that division. That division is notorious for these kinds of fights. You realize that?
Yeah. Anytime like Ortega and Holloway, Volkanovski, Ortega, Calvin Kattar, Holloway. Like
Calvin Kattar, Chikadze. Giga Chikadze. And now this one. It's like, what's going on with this division, man?
Yeah,
just straight beatdowns.
But some of the toughest freaking dudes in this division.
Yeah.
There's just no quitting Zombie. And going from the first round to the second round, when Volkanovski had taken him down and he didn't stand up to sit on the stool.
Oh, man.
He stayed on the ground. I said,
it's like, all right, call it. Call it.
It's over.
Dude, not even before that, when the round ended and he was on his back, and he just kind of squeezed his eyes and was just kind of laying there for a second, I was like, dude, this guy's he's not going to win this fight.
No.
We don't need to see anything else. And then I'm saying that as a massive Korean Zombie fan. I wanted it more than anything on this card. That's what I wanted to happen the most is somehow, and I like Volkanovski a lot too, but Zombies, I've been with Zombie since the WEC, you know what I mean? So to see him finally get this shot again, whether it be due to injury or whatever, right? But he got the shot. I wanted him to pull it off so bad, but
did you hear the record that Korean Zombie had with this, where it's the most days in between title shots? It was like 3,000 and something days.
That doesn't surprise me. When he fought Aldo, that was a long time ago.
Very long time ago. And Volkanovski, I gained so much respect for him last night, not just because of the performance, but let me tell you what really got me. There was a little space in my heart, like those fighters that I had in my heart, they moved over a little bit. They're like, dude, here, let's create a little space for Volkanovski right here.
And they pick up Volkanovski and they raise him.
And they place him right in that little space. And it's when Volkanovski waits off to the side. You see Korean Zombie, after he gets interviewed, he lays down, hands on his face. He stands up. I don't know if that's his wife or his girlfriend, probably his wife. And they're hugging each other and he's crying. And Volkanovski the entire time, like part of his team walks out. The entire time the Volkanovski waits right by the door, standing there with his belt on until he stood up, walked over to Volkanovski, and he offers him the exit of the octagon first after he bows to him. And Korean Zombie just hugs him, and they just embrace each other for a while. And, I'm not too sure exactly what was said. I'm sure there were some nice words in there. But then, same thing after the embrace, he once again offers the exit out first for Zombie, which I thought was extremely respectful, super classy of the guy. And like I said, now
Volkanovski's the champ.
Now he's right there, dude, in my heart.
It got to the point where in that third round, I was watching it with Sam, and I was like, dude, I'm starting to feel bad for both guys here, because you could tell Volkanovski was like, what are we doing here, And
he said it in the interview.
Yeah, he's like, dude, I started to feel bad in there, and it's like, fuck, man, at the championship level, we shouldn't be having that. It is what it is. It's gonna happen, you know what I mean? But it does suck to watch, especially when it's one guy like a guy like Korean Zombie. You just hate to see him in that position. But realistically, This is probably time for Zombie.
For Korean Zombie. I agree, man. I
Yeah.
agree. And I mean, so now in the top 5, you have Calvin Cater. He just beat Korean Zombie. You have Yair Rodriguez,
Mhm.
Brian Ortega, Max Holloway. So I mean, I really want to see the Holloway Volkanovski fight.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to see that happen.
Yeah. I think also, I know pound for pound is fucking stupid, but at this point, Volkanovski, I mean, he's already number 3, but I don't know. He's starting to maybe edge out Izzy, in my opinion, if I'm
I
being
agree.
honest.
I
I mean,
agree.
he is incredible.
Just based off of how dominant his last performance have been.
And not just dominant. It's not even just that. It's dominant in every facet of mixed martial arts. Like,
Hey, if you were to put up Charles Oliveira versus Volkanovski, how do you think that would go?
fuck, it's such a weird fight, dude. Because
It would.
I see Volkanovski as like a bantamweight because he's so short, but like he's not. He's very close to being
Dude
a
used to weigh
lightweight.
over 200 pounds when he played rugby.
Allegedly, that got. It's funny because that got like lost in translation of metric and standard or whatever the fuck. But because and he even corrected Joe on that on his podcast, and Joe's still like, man, this guy used to be 200 pounds. Dude, he corrected you specifically. But it was
That's
like
so funny.
it was like the kilograms and all that shit.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
But no,
so funny.
you know, that's again a masterful performance. If anything, is Yair versus Ortega or anything like that set up right now? Because that would be
Real quick,
fantastic.
shout out Andrew Toasty. Good morning, fellas. Good to see y'all. Shout out Andrew Toasty. Like we said, go back and watch the interview we just did with him last week.
Oh, shout out Toasty.
Yeah,
Fun interview.
Good.
Fun interview.
Yeah.
But yeah, would you say Ortega versus Yair?
You have to do Ortega versus Yair. This is the fight. There was supposed to be Holloway versus Volkanovski. Holloway, I think, is back now. I don't think he's injured anymore. So it's like, all right, cool. Let's get on with that. And yeah, Ortega versus Yair. Or either Ortega versus Yair or like, what do you do with Calvin?
I think Calvin Cater versus Arnold Allen.
Arnold Allen called him out, and the Cater fight or the Cater camp is down. If I'm the Cater camp, I don't know if I even take that fight though. He's coming off a big win.
It's risky.
Well, he's just coming off a big win. If I was Cater, I'd be like, I deserve to fight up. I haven't gotten a chance to fight Volkanovski. I would be trying to get the Yair fight.
Yeah, that I could see that happening. But the only thing is that I definitely think they'll make Volkanovski versus Holloway. Like, that has to happen.
Yeah.
So what do you?
Oh yeah, you have to do it.
I don't think Brian Ortega wants to, one, sit off on the sidelines, and two, he wouldn't want to really take a big leap down and say, well, maybe Cater versus Ortega, for example. I mean, who knows?
The hard thing for me with Ortega is, like, in my opinion, Ortega's got to fight down, and he shouldn't be fighting someone who's potentially one fight away from a title shot. If I'm the UFC matchmakers, I'm not putting Ortega in that spot, because if Ortega wins, we just killed a new contender for a division that's kind of logjammed by Volkanovski and Holloway. We just got a fresh fight right now, but it's because that fight got canceled. So if I'm them, because if Ortega wins his next fight and it's someone who's a fight away from the title fight, what do we have him fight Max again and get the shit beat out of him? Do we have him fight Volkanovski again when he got? I mean, outside of a couple minutes of that fight, it was very one-sided. So, like, I don't know. I would like to see, if you challenge for a belt and you lose, you should get dropped out of the top 5, in my opinion. I hate that they keep them at like 2 or 3 because it's, and then we end up with Colby Covington situation and at welterweight. It just kind of sucks.
I mean, it's tough though, because they're still one of the best fighters in that division.
100%. But
yeah, but in order for you to keep some type of rotation going, that's what would have to happen.
Yeah, imagine if you're like, oh man, I just got on this ride. I waited in line, got on this ride, just finished the ride. Let me just hop right back in the front of this line.
Yeah.
You know, like all the people there were like, what the fuck? This guy just went. It's my turn.
Way, I mean, when you take a look at the top 7, Josh Emmett, what do we do with Josh Emmett? You know, it's a very exciting division.
No, definitely. Arnold Allen, if I'm the UFC, I'm doing Calvin Cater versus Yair, Holloway versus Volkanovski, and Brian Ortega versus Arnold Allen. That's what I would do.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
As a fan, I really want to see Arnold Allen versus Calvin Cater, but as far as moving the division along, I think that's the best move, is to have Ortega fight Brandon Allen.
Got it. All right, man. Anything else on that fight?
No, it sucks to see your boys get beat up though. It's
For
one of the
sure.
hardest things about this sport.
I know, man.
It happens
It's
every
like
week.
Volkanovski said, hey, we signed up for this.
Yeah,
You know, it's
100%.
crazy. Hey, everybody. Romero and Will here. Thank you so much for watching that short clip. It's just a small clip of what we covered this last Sunday.
Yeah, if you want to check out the full fight card recap, the link is in the description, and it's going to be on screen at the end here. Don't forget to go back and watch our fighter interviews that we have. And don't forget to tune in live every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, and you can join in on the fun.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It goes a long way. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching that short clip from Story of the Fight.